So I'm going to start with a bit of fun. This is a rare opportunity, by the way. You can take some money off me today. So open to everybody. On this first slide, there is £5 there. I want to ask anyone in the audience how long it took each of these methods of communication to reach 50 million people. How many years for radio? 38. That shouldn't have come up there. That's the easiest £5 he's ever earned. The next one is television. How many years? Anybody? 20. Close. 15's the closest. I'm going to give you a fiver. It's 13 years. Next, the internet.
8.
Who said 5 years? It's close. 4 years. Next online is iPod.
9 months.
Surprising. 3 years. No one's getting that. You're miles away. Last, Facebook.
15 months. 9 months.
9 months is closest. 175 million users in 11 months. We've moved from being listeners and watchers to users. We're all called users nowadays. We used to be receivers of information. Radio, TV, receiving entertainment. Now it's about us taking information from the internet. The whole dynamic's changed because online, and particularly social media, is making the access to information easier and cheaper than ever. 80% now of the UK population are now internet users. On average, we look at 15 different websites every week. A 380% increase in the numbers of people using the internet since 2009. Even my mother's starting to think about it. And interestingly, the number of businesses using the internet has actually plateaued. But what's absolutely clear, and the research suggests all this, is that people are using that information to research before they buy, compare and look at suppliers before they buy and after they buy to help them decide what to buy. And of course, they're using it now to buy things. With all these people, all this content, why should anybody look at your stuff ahead of anybody else's? And the next thing is, how do you get them to look at your stuff as well? That's another big issue for everybody. And it's worth us remembering that no one actually gets paid to go online. No one forces them, no one pays them money. They go there because they want something. So any of us who wants to attract people needs to know what our customers want. We need to give them good reasons to look at our stuff, and we need to ensure that they can find us, and hopefully they can come back. And if you think about it, your websites are just the access point. That's all it is. It's the content on the website that actually builds the relationships, that builds the reasons for people to engage with your content and come back to it. And you may have heard the internet described as the internet highway. Well, it's probably actually better described as a Turkish bazaar rather than a highway. A highway says something's very organised, doesn't it? It's a proper route to things. The web's not quite like that. It's this Turkish bazaar. You can come in through about 1,000 different doors. You never go out the same way you came in, do you? But the point is, people do want to find it, and they want to find it quickly. And that brings me to what I was talking about earlier, is there's been a shift in the power. It used to be that the traditional model was we decided as communicators what we wanted to say, and we told people. We chose the medium, we delivered it in the way we wanted to, and we waited for our response. And the power was in the supplier of that information. Now it's all changed. It's the buyer. It's the receiver who actually has the control and wants that control and will take that control. If you don't give it to them, they'll go somewhere else. They'll go elsewhere in time measured in milliseconds. That's how quickly people go off websites. One of the starting points is not to panic and to think, God, I've suddenly got to be on every single social networking site. Just get used to relinquishing some control because actually the control is in the hands of the user. What you've got to do is get yourself noticed and be part of their world. I encourage you to start thinking about new terms that will help you. Enablement, inspiration, influence and engagement. To do that, though, you've got to understand how your market, how your customers and how your competitors are working in this online world and are relating to it. If you do that, It helps you make the choices about where you need to be next, rather than just following the latest trend or paying some consultant huge amounts of money to tell you you've got to have a Twitter page. You find out that none of your customers have heard of Twitter. Well, you might have wasted your money. So it's not just being there, it's being there for the right reasons. And it's no different for us at EMAP. We're in the same position as you. We have to engage with our marketplace. And it's putting new demands on us, and it will put new demands on you. But at the same time, I think it's putting big opportunities in front of you as well to get a lot more value from the investment you spend in exhibitions. And I think to start thinking of exhibitions not as just physical events. An exhibition it's an environment, isn't it, you're involved in. You're involving yourself in many different brands and many different ways of reaching your customer. And it doesn't just happen over 3 or 4 or 5 days. It happens outside that period as well. And the web is perfectly placed to take over from the physical event. These two things are complementary. They do not compete with each other. And so as suppliers, we have to start thinking differently when we think of the web. So it used to be exhibition companies organised their websites just to exist for the show, and then think, see you again next year. They switch the website off, switch it on again next year. Crazy. This is a market that doesn't go to sleep. So we have to now go beyond where we are now to ensure that our proposition both engages people through the physical exhibition, but also through compelling and interactive websites, mobile access, social networks, of course, and maybe in the not too distant future, transactional opportunities and services through a host website. And all this means really going way beyond just the click-through to your website. If we think about what buyers want, buyers, and should we call them users now, are expecting online tools that help them find what they want better. I talked earlier on about retrieving information. They want to retrieve what they know they want. At the same time, they want to be inspired to find new things. That's why people go to exhibitions, don't they? To be confronted with inspiration, with innovation, to see products live. Now, the web makes that just as possible, not quite as enjoyable, I don't think, as visiting an exhibition, but the medium is there to help do that. And as exhibitors, of course, people who are exhibiting are expecting more tangible value. And I suppose ultimately, actionable sales leads, that's what really counts. That's what you want to walk away with, is either orders or prospects for orders. That's what really counts. And that shouldn't be any different on the web as it is at an exhibition. Our next generation of websites will have much more, or many more, intuitive tools for both you to create content and tools for buyers to source that information and source products and supplier information so that they can use that, and you can use that, to build the relationships with those people. Many of the principles that apply to exhibiting equally apply on the web. You know, you go to great trouble to dress your stand. You know, you dress salespeople up in smart clothing. You ask them to smile. You put offers on. You have champagne. Put your card in here. There's a whole plethora of things motivating me when I walk down an aisle to say, stop and look. It's not just the products. There's other techniques you're using to do that. And the web's no different. Why should the web be any different to that? It's just, it's a virtual world. And we have to take some of the things that are happening in that physical environment and say, how do we translate those online? And that's the challenge to us, and hopefully the challenge we're responding to. So what are those things? Well, by the way, that was a sneak preview of the new Autumn Fair site, and we hope that you'll be delighted with it. I'd certainly value your feedback. These enhancements here that we provide for you through the website are things that buyers tell us that they want to see, that we know are going to motivate them to look for more. One of the things that we have on the new website, and this is happening more across lots of other websites, is automatically matching content to a buyer's preference. They'll be able to create their own profile that says, I'm interested in toys, in greetings, in gifts, and then we'll match the content automatically against that preference. So the whole point is to feed information to people automatically rather than just relying on them to go and find it. You'll be able to follow those people. So they'll follow you and you'll be able to follow them. You can see who that person's name is. It'll be on your profile. You can say, I'm going to email that individual and invite them to my stand or invite them to meet me afterwards. So it's building that networking and letting it happen. I talked earlier about relinquishing control. Letting the communication happen is what it's about. As organisers, we put on the party, you make the party.